Well, look at who we have in studio. Our very own good friend, Keith Cascio. Welcome, Keith.
Hi, David. Nice to be here in the studio with you.
I like your tie.
Thank you. I'm celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, as we've been doing since Sunday, since September 15th.
Mm-hmm.
And, oh, man, I've already got great stories from doing that. But this is my 10th campaigning activity of the day today. I've been campaigning since 9 o'clock this morning, and I've been all over town.
Wow. Well, a lot of people can't see your tie, so the tie kind of represents a Mexican flag. It is.
Interesting?
There it is. It's green, white, and blue, and it's actually very cool. I've never seen one.
That's what thousands of people said down at El Grito on Sunday evening in downtown LA, El Grito de Dolores, right?
Uh-huh.
It went so much better than last year. I did El Grito last year. I didn't get as warm of a reception. I was wearing a much more conservative tie, more dressy kind of shoes. This year, I came with my Mexican flag tie and my shoes, if anybody can see my matching shoes.
Oh, look at the shoes matches.
Okay.
Look at you.
And I'm just getting thumbs up all over, and it made me feel so bold that I was like, maybe I can talk my way into VIP. Sunday evening, and there I am with the LA Council people. We're right at the foot of the stage, and there's a whole bunch of people very well dressed in suits, and I started talking to them, and they say, oh, the ambassador from Mexico is here.
Wow.
And I introduced myself to Carlos Gutierrez, the consul general from Mexico to
Yes.
Los Angeles, and he was very nice. And I've already emailed him and proposed some outreach strategies to the Latino community.
That's awesome. I love it. I feel a little bit embarrassed because I am Mexican and I don't feel like I'm in the spirit here. So, yeah, you showed me up here.
Okay. Well,
But it looks good. I like it.
Yep.
us candidates get very creative. Yeah.
Yep. Keith, now where is the 55th district?
The 55th, and it goes, they change the lines every 10 years, but currently the lines go from Lincoln at the border of Santa Monica to Normandy, and from the northern border of Inglewood, just south of Slauson, to the Beverly Center. So if I could name some neighborhoods, that would be Mar Vista, Culver City, Ladera Heights, Baldwin Hills, West Adams, View Park, Windsor Hills, Crenshaw, Lamert Park, Miracle Mile, Mid-City, Little Ethiopia, Pico Robertson, Beverly Wood, Beverly Grove, and all of Century City.
Wow. So you have really diverse communities, whether it's Century City or Lamert Park. I used to go to meetings, the Urban Roundtable, with Earl Afari Hutchinson over there at Lamert Park. They have a little like a bookstore, art gallery. It would have a little meeting room there, so we used to go there, and it was nice. Here I was a Republican, even though I'm being labeled a fascist now, but I was down there fighting for the African American community because they were losing so many of their well-paying middle-class jobs, especially in the trades, to individuals coming across the border who were willing to do drywall, where you had the black construction workers were getting $25 an hour. You had these individuals coming across the border that were willing to do it for $12. And so a lot of them had to end up moving back to the South because they couldn't afford to maintain a middle-class lifestyle with their wages cut out from under them. And for that, I was called a racist, coconut, brown on the outside, white on the inside, that type of thing. And so it's what an opportunity to be able to represent those communities.
It all comes down to economics, doesn't it, David? And that's the story for us, isn't it, being Republicans in Los Angeles? And it's making me feel very optimistic, really. My experience campaigning is just filling me with optimism, but it's going to be a lot of work, though.
Well, and the Pico Robertson area, so you also have a very high density of the Jewish community as well, and they are definitely going through a lot of challenges right now.
Just to lay it out for the audience, the 55th district where I've lived for 23 years, and where I'm running it's the most diverse district in California if you measure diversity by the mix of people. So it kind of reminds me of Brooklyn, New York, where I'm originally from, a black, Latino, Jewish, Asian district.
No, it's great. And I know you've met some of the individuals from some of the synagogues and have interacted and broke bread and, and been taken into their homes. And I think that demonstrates, the level of your commitment to reaching out to voters.
That's very kind of you, David. Thank you. And if we're candidates to candidates exchanging notes and exchanging tips here, going to the full worship services, go get there at the beginning and stay until the end, and stay if it's going to be a Shabbat, stay for the Kiddush. If it's going to be a Christian worship service, then stay for the social hour at the end. It makes a huge difference to people. It really makes an impression. And my brother's a psychologist. He's a PhD psychologist. My sister-in-law also. They taught me about something called the mere exposure effect. Just show up 3 times. It totally changes the way people perceive you, including if you're a Republican.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Now I asked the previous caller about
Ted Norberg.
Yeah, Ted. What his need is, because everybody has a different need, and depending on your area, I'm not sure what you're needing or what you're lacking in your campaign and what you need people to help with, whether it's donations, whether it's just coming out and canvassing for you, phone calls.
Thank you so much for asking. I'm on this adventure. I've been on this adventure for 2.5 years. I ran last cycle 2022, this cycle 2024. And maybe there's something that, and it's something that some of our colleagues who we know, who David knows, have been helping me with, is just accompany me to some of these environments where I go. It just, human, social sort of instinct. It's like when you can be there with a group, it makes a bigger impression on folks. So I've had some really cool people like Felicia Novick, like this amazing young gentleman who I've been campaigning with recently named Brandon, a stalwart Republican originally from Spartanburg, South Carolina, who's been out here in LA for about 10 years. So if we tell any stories this evening, and people say, well, that sounds pretty cool, I'd like to go to one of these Chamber of Commerce events, or I'd like to go to one of these cultural events where you're meeting ambassadors from other countries, then please get in touch with me, and I'm sure we're going to share my contact information here, but keithfor55.org is the website. Keith@keithfor55.org would be the email address. And if anybody says that sounds interesting, especially in an election year like this, wow, to simply go out to some of these events that I go to. I did. This is my 10th thing today. So I did a church barbecue for Bethesda Temple this morning. Then I did a church barbecue for the Metropolitan Missionary Baptist Association. So it was several churches together.
Right.
Then I did a Latino literary festival at the Plaza de Cultura y Artes downtown near Olvera Street. Then I went to Supervisor Holly Mitchell's Racial Justice Learning Exchange event at Kenneth Hahn Hall of Administration. Then I went down to Culver City, and believe it or not, I visited with a fundraiser for current Culver City Mayor Yasmin McMorrin, who's been very nice to me. Us Republicans, we have to build bridges. Okay,
Yes.
I'm running in a district that is 8.4% registered Republican, 65.5% registered Democrat. Right, so I don't have a chance unless I make friends with Democrats.
Right.
And I want to tell you, Mayor Yasmin, a Democrat, has been quite kind to me. So I did that. Then I did a Zoom call on the drive back to First AME Church with an organization called Braver Angels. Have you heard of them, David? Yeah. Wow. I did their immigration debate the other day, and I was one of the speakers for that. I had such a good experience. So there was a planning Zoom. I was on that, and I was participating in that. We were talking about Temple Beth Am, very important synagogue in my district, and some work we were going to do with them. And then I got to First AME Church, and they had a comedy explosion event there. Packed church, totally packed. And
that was Reverend. That wasn't.
That was the most important black pastor of the past 50 years, Reverend Cecil Chip Murray, who just passed away several months ago. The whole community came out for that. The wake service, the homegoing service, the burial at Inglewood Park Cemetery, and he was in the Air Force, so that was a military burial. But this was just this was for laughs today, and the final act, Jammin' J Lamont. Whew! he brought the house completely down. You know, I mean, I had already done so much today, and it totally changed my emotional state. Then I went down Adams after that, and there's a Spanish language evangelical megachurch called Restauración. I've become very good friends with Pastor Rene Molina there, and they were having a carnival, a street carnival in Adams. But I got to meet the CEO and the COO of their CDC, their Community Development Corporation, and had an absolutely wonderful conversation with them. And let's see. And then I went over to an art show on Pico.
Oh, you've been busy.
Okay. And I was given time to give a speech there, and met some really interesting people there. And then it became time to drive up here to Burbank.
Very good. Look at you. You've been all over the place.
Thanks.
So, Keith, what is your website? Once again,
KeithFor55.org.
KeithFor55.org. And so now all of your district is in LA County, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I think the last we checked, there's about 1,012,000 and change registered Republicans in LA County.
Right.
And of that amount, about 500,000 don't vote. So I stopped asking why and started asking what can we do to get them to vote.
Right.
Because, a lot of our candidates are doing good in spite of the voter registration numbers being very unbalanced. So because of the issues, I'm sure there's a lot of Democrats, a lot of independents that are voting for you. So what do you think we can do to get some of the Republicans to re-engage in the political process?
So even before the internet, right, humanity had viral social phenomena, right? That's always been the
They
case.
had shots for that, though.
Okay, right? I mean, we just, all of us, and David, you've been doing this for years, okay? You've been sparking viral joy, right? You've been sparking.
Oh, we're going to bring back the joy.
Okay,
Me and
okay.
Kamala.
I guess, hey, there's no monopoly on joy. So
There you go.
we're allowed to be joyful too. So, David, I admire how you've been doing this for years. So some of us are just trying to learn from you. But, we want to tell stories, or we want to talk about the experiences that we're having that has a tendency to counteract apathy, I guess, right? And counteract cynicism. So one thing I find is that we're really not living in a political world where it's all about just winning and losing, right? Running for office is a way of influencing policy in Sacramento. And we need to influence policy in Sacramento. I mean, I'm having Democrat after Democrat after Democrat begging me to influence policy in Sacramento. So, but you could do that little by little and work up to winning the seat, right? But if my work in the 55th changes the bills that are being sponsored by the Democrat supermajority in the assembly, or changes the votes, or changes the perception among voters, then it's a win.
Right, absolutely, because even though an informed Democrat electorate is going to put pressure on their elected officials, even if they're Democrat.
That's it.
And so I think the politicians in Sacramento thrive on the electorate being unaware of what they're doing. And so while you're in those communities and you're sharing the reality of what is taking place, and you're finding like-minded individuals regardless of party, they may not go and register in the party of Lincoln, but they're going to stand up and say, well, wait a minute, I don't want that for my child, or I don't believe that's the right financial course for our family. So you're right. It makes a difference. So my question, it was never, well, are you going to win or lose? It's, will it make a difference? And it's astoundingly, it's yes.
And that should be very motivating for voting. And David, as CAGOP regional vice chair, there's an incredibly good example of this that I'm assuming you've probably told your listeners about. SB 14. That bill by State Senator Shannon Grove about child sex trafficking, right? Has that story been told?
Oh yeah,
on this show?
I mean, there's been so many things like that, I mean, SB 145 with Scott Wiener, so that a 24-year-old can have sex with a 14-year-old boy and not have to register as a sex offender because it's unfair. I don't want to say it's unfair to the
Right.
LGBTQ community because then I'll be labeled as anti-gay, even though I cared for a gay man for 2 years who was dying of AIDS.
Right, right.
And so there are so many bills like that, Keith, that once that finally came to light, and there was enough blowback, even Governor Newsom said, "Wait a minute, we need to get this."
Exactly. That's the part that I wanted to highlight, is that it passed unanimously in the state Senate, which has a Democrat supermajority, but yet still passed unanimously, a bill authored by a Republican. Then it goes to the Assembly Public Safety Committee, and it is blocked.
Right. Isn't that Matucci or whatever the heck his name is?
Well, at least I know the names of 4 of the members of the Assembly Public Safety Committee that blocked it. That would be 4 male Democrat Assembly people in contiguous districts in Los Angeles: Rick Chavez-Zeber in the 51st, Isaac Bryan in the 55th, Miguel Santiago in the 54th, and Reggie Jones-Sawyer in the 57th.
Right.
And our chairwoman,
2 minutes.
Jessica Patterson, and our head of social media for CAGOP, Ashley Yanez, did such an amazing job of embarrassing the Democrats on this particular one, that Governor Gavin Newsom took those 4 gentlemen into a room and he said, you, and you're going to change your vote, and they did.
Mm-hmm.
So look at us Republicans influencing policy in Sacramento right there.
Yep, absolutely. And I think that's happening not only in that area, but it's also happening with homelessness. It's happening with public safety, with Prop 36 on the ballot, and I think it's got like a 71% favorability rate, and that's not just Republicans. That's people that want to be able to walk their kids down the street without having the kids being smashed or being
Right.
robbed. And so those are issues that cross party lines, that when we make people aware, when candidates are out there talking to people and speaking of the issues, it makes a difference. So Keith, thank you so much for coming in. Website again?
KeithFor55.org. Thanks, David.
All right, now we will be right back because there is the music. Marianne, the first hour is gone.
Yes.
But wait, there's more. We have a very special second hour, and this second hour is brought to you by Lucy Valesky for State Senate District 27. So we'll be right back. We have a couple of young ladies here that you're going to want to hear from, and then you'll have to be the judge of are they patriots? Are they some other names that they're being labeled as? But don't go away. We'll be right back.